American dream. He's just a common man, working hard with his hands. He's just a common man, working hard for the man. Hey, he's American dream. Hey, he's American dream. If you are black or white, redneck, funky, that's alright. Blue-eyed with a lot of soul, common man has got his gold. Hey, he's
Another episode of the N.O.W. So we are pretty fresh off of Wrestlemania or Wrestling Week, as we've been calling it. I guess a lot of the people still called it Wrestlemania Week. While it's the culmination of everything, it really, to say that it's just WrestleMania is discrediting half of the events that we went to.
True.
So, I will start off by saying I do have a complaint about Wrestling Week. That there were some events that were almost too big. And I don't mean necessarily like, I don't like crowds. I'm talking that they had so many events packed into that one big event that they went on too long. We experienced it a couple times to where one of the things that we'll talk about here, Wildkat, when we got there, because they had so many matches that they wanted to do, it looked like they literally started the matches as the door was opening. Because we got there right at about 5:30 when pre-show was supposed to start.
Mm-hmm.
And when we got in there and got seated, the first match was already, the first match that was announced, which was taking place on pre-show, was finishing.
I think, too, they may even started a couple minutes earlier because Wildkat was worried about the next show.
Yeah, there was so many events that were taking place at WrestleCon.
Right.
I think within 30 minutes or an hour of Wildkat letting out, they had that WrestleCon Super Show thing where they had, I know they had Omega and Emma or Tennille
Dashwood, now she's called, yeah.
I think Cody made an appearance at that thing. I mean, it was a pretty packed event to where when we left, the line was wrapping around the building.
Right.
They had to basically block it off to where that was one slight complaint. I know that I think both of y'all mentioned that when the show ended, you wanted to be able to go grab a shirt or some sort of souvenir of the event or just Wildkat merch. But the way that they had the line, I guess, going, it had it to where you couldn't get to the merch tables.
Right. Yeah, because everybody was in line for the next show, so we couldn't even go get merch, which was kind of crazy.
Let's see. But all in all, that event was a superb way to start off the week.
Well, I'll say this about the Wildkat show. You guys did great in getting those seats. We had the best seats in the house.
Yeah, we had fifth row right there by the
entrance.
Ramp. Yeah.
Right where the entrance. So we could literally, we're right here next to the wrestlers. And then we're sitting fifth row, and there was nobody behind us sixth row. So Dave had made all kind of posters before the show, so we could stand up, we could hold the posters, we could do whatever we wanted, we could take the show over if we wanted. We did do that.
We tried.
We tried.
And it was awesome. It was one of the best, most fun shows I've ever been to.
Yeah, it was an incredible show. If I had to say my favorite match, as much we talked about the indifference that we had towards Anthony.
Yes.
That was probably one of my favorite matches, was the Steve Anthony match with Mr. 450, just because of the howls alone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Mr. 450, what he would do, well, first off, he came out in like this wolf gimmick thing, and we just started laughing. We're like, this is ridiculous. But then before he would hit him, he would be like, "Arr!" And then we would all do it. And then it just kept going on and on throughout the match, and we're dying laughing. And actually, 450, he's an awesome wrestler.
Yeah, that was a really good match as well.
And we were booing the hell out of Steve Anthony, and he actually took it pretty well, and actually came up to us after the match and was like, "Hey guys, I'm glad y'all are into it. Thanks for supporting us," or something. And we're still like, "Boo, boo." But he was cool, you know.
Not me. I picked him for the win.
You did. You did.
So, what would you say was your favorite match?
I mean, that was really good. The Steve Anthony 450. I mean, that was an awesome match, and I also liked Johnny Flex and Ken Dixon.
Yeah.
It was slow at the beginning, and like Ken Dixon, I don't know if he's playing or not, but he as a heel, you just want to hate him. He just seems a dick in real life. And when Johnny Flex came back and beat him, I thought that was like the feel-good moment of the show.
My favorite match was Jay Spade winning or continuing to keep the title. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I was so happy to see Ken Dixon lose, but I was even happier to see old Stevie Richards lose.
Well,
But he's okay.
I was real happy to see Flex win the belt.
Right.
From what I've heard, behind the scenes, he's like one of the most dedicated dudes on the roster. That for 2 years or whatever that he's been in it, he hasn't missed a practice, and I think they practice like 3 or 4 times a week.
Wow.
To where and I think that he lives further out from the city, so he's driving in every day to go to practice.
You know, it's funny when
Plus, I'm sure that they're required to make appearances at the gym.
Right. But I remember you told me that story right before maybe the show. So after he won and he's got the belt and Pump Patrol's passing us, I was like, "Hard work pays off, Johnny. Hard work pays off." So I'm sure that'll be on TV at some point.
Some other shocking moments. Let's see. The Shane Douglas attacking Luke Hawx again.
That was unacceptable. Security should have been ready for that.
And during that match, it looked like, I think, Damian 666 was legit injured in that match.
Yeah.
Because he was out for a bit right there near us.
Right. Then he went out limping in the back.
Yeah, and then Luke, getting attacked from behind over there, kind of to the left of us.
Mm-hmm.
That was...
You know what was odd about that? They didn't even, and I guess this is to make it look like a real shoot here, but Shane Douglas, he didn't jump over the barricades or anything. He just...
Yeah, I think he just whacked them from over the barricade.
Like he was one of the fans, and everybody's like, "What the hell is going on?"
Well, I remembered seeing a few guys over there that were wearing the Wyatt sheep masks and just random wrestling style masks and luchador masks, stuff like that. And I just figured, okay, they're just hardcore fans.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No big deal. It's WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah.
people are out there wearing everything wrestling.
Yeah.
I mean, throughout the weekend, I think we ran into, let's see, I remember a fake Jim Neidhart.
Yeah.
Going into WrestleMania, I saw a
I saw Bret Hart.
I
Bret
saw
Hart.
a Hogan. I saw a Piper and a Shinsuke,
Okay. Yeah.
and then numerous others that we saw throughout the weekend. The fake Bellas.
The Repo Man was awesome.
Yeah, the Repo Man and
Vader.
Vader. Yes.
Yeah. That was good.
So I mean, seeing people in masks, it's not unusual.
Right.
So I'm assuming that he was one of those guys in the mask. I mean, I was watching all the events that were taking place around us.
Right.
Like I said, literally right next to us, Damian 666 is laid out. You've got the Knights who were flying all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
PJ was really impressive.
Yeah, PJ was good. I really think the younger Knight, the son, man, he's only like 19 years
Was
old.
it
or
Ricky
20.
Jr., I think?
Yeah, I mean, he was incredible. I could see him in the WWE and or NXT in just a couple years. I feel like he was that good. What do y'all think?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I definitely see where he could be WWE material.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially with Paige being now a general manager,
Right.
I have to imagine that could possibly speed it up. Plus, all the talk of the movie that they're doing right now,
Mm-hmm.
it wouldn't surprise me in the next few months with all the movie or miniseries, whatever that they did related to Paige. It wouldn't surprise me if we see him make some sort of appearance.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's see. Any other matches of significance?
A match I was disappointed with, and I don't think it was these guys' fault. The Matt Lancey Danny Flamingo match. I felt like they didn't have enough time to really get in their kind of full story, hard hitting type of match that they usually have.
Yeah, I wouldn't surprise me in the least if we see a rematch of that.
Mm-hmm. To where they can maybe get like 10 more minutes and just
Yeah.
beat the hell out of each other.
Let's see. The
Rated X is coming up. Best of 3.
Oh, there you go.
another one that was a good one. The three-way match right in the beginning with Mike Dell.
Oh, yeah.
Where right as the guy, I think it was Connolly that won, right as he came out, he yelled, "Who are you?
Yeah, I
who
mean-
are you?" And he turns back and he just yells at you.
Oh.
"I'll show you who the hell I am."
Yeah, he might have even dropped an F-bomb at me. He was pissed. He was pissed. Yeah, that was funny. Yeah. Who are you? Who are you?
Let's see. The Savannah Evans match wasn't bad. I thought that they told a pretty good story in the ring. The Hurricane handouts
Stand out.
versus Pump Patrol.
Yeah, I mean, I like Pump Patrol being in the match. I kind of thought, man, it's kind of crazy they're putting the Hurricane here and like this part of the card, you know. But I mean, I thought it was an entertaining match.
I was happy to see that Edrin Stone had a tag team partner. I mean, really, we thought the handouts were going somewhere, and wherever they are, that is what it is. But, you know, Edrin Stone, yeah, man, Hurricane is definitely somebody good to put him up next to. Plus, he was used to wearing green already. Hurricane wears green.
It's a win-win.
A win-win.
And I liked how the Hurricane had his fist, the
gauntlet,
the
that was
gauntlet,
cool.
Yeah.
the Infinity Gauntlet. Let's see, any of these other matches that were really something to to talk about there
Mm,
that I'm seeing here?
I think we
I mean,
covered the.
they
good
were
stuff.
all entertaining. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but I mean that's really the highlight ones that we wanted to.
I still want to know who's taking responsibility for letting Shane Douglas get in the door and get that close.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
sure
I mean, this has happened at the
I
two
mean-
shows already.
It's either security is not ready for whatever, or Luke Hawx isn't ready for whatever. Which is it?
Well, I think it's just that he somehow bought a ticket, and
Oh, that's no excuse.
well, I mean, once
No
you buy
excuse.
a ticket, it's if you play it right, hurry up and sneak in and make your move, and that's what I assume he had to do.
Well,
Again, I didn't get a good shot on when he attacked him. I was watching, and then all of a sudden, Luke's there, and Luke's not there.
Mm-hmm. When do y'all think Wildkat will air this show?
What the?
Their WrestleCon show, like on their TV show.
I don't know. I really don't know. Just because I know they're still kind of trying to lead up some of the storylines, so we may not see it for a
quite
few
some
months.
time. Yeah.
yeah, I wouldn't imagine we'll see it that soon. And when we do, it'll probably be a match at a time,
Mm.
or at least in the format they do it right now, we'll see it a match or two at a time.
Yeah.
But I know they're really pushing the Vimeo stream thing that you can get with them as well.
Mm.
And from what I understand, they put a lot of footage up there. It seems like almost before it even makes it to TV,
Okay.
or stuff that they're like, maybe this was too wild for TV. Like in the instance where we potentially got an F-bomb dropped at us.
Right. Yeah.
So, I know also that this weekend, Wildkat has a event that they're doing. They're doing it in conjunction with the Magnolia Adult Services Center, to where it's mostly a show for the, I guess the residents or the members of the Magnolia Adult Services
I would imagine it's them and their family members.
and their family, and they opened it up to a small amount of fans.
Cool.
And I know one of the big things that they were encouraging fans to do was sponsor a kid to, or one of their participants to attend,
Mhm.
or for their family member. And with their admission, it included a shirt for them. That more of the cost was for a shirt than it was for admission.
Cool.
So yeah, I have tickets for that. So I'm sure we'll have updates on that in the upcoming show.
Okay.
Anything else really hot that we want to talk about with Wildkat here?
I think the only last thing was right before the show, we all got to meet Billy Gunn. Remember that?
Oh, we did, yes.
And he was
Yeah.
really, really nice.
We had the Mr. Ass sign.
Yes, I was holding the Mr. Ass sign. I
Yeah.
know we put it on Facebook. Did you put it on the page?
Yeah.
Okay, great. But he was super cool. Mark actually asked him right before the shot, hey, if I take my ass out, is it cool? And Billy goes, I don't do whatever you want. But he was really nice with us, and it looked like he was just having fun the whole night. He was happy to be there.
Yeah, all the, I guess the guests, shall you call them?
Right.
The Billy Guns, the, to an extent, Bob Holly, and even Stevie Richards.
Mm-hmm.
And Hurricane. You could tell that they were not just like, I'm here for a paycheck. You
Right,
could tell
yeah.
that they were having a good time with
Mhm.
everything that they were doing.
Yes, I agree.
So, all in all, great show. Thank you, Wildkat. So after Wildkat, you and I,
Mm-hmm.
we went to the Paul Heyman show
And unfortunately, Mark came with us.
Mark. Yeah.
You know, I love him to death. But and we'll get into this in a second. But yeah, there were some challenging moments in that show. First off, Paul Heyman, he does his show, and the way he started it, Jim Ross came out,
Yes.
and he kind of introduced Paul Heyman and everything, and that was kind of neat seeing JR. And JR didn't stay on the stage too long, and then Paul Heyman comes out. And really, the whole thing was kind of question and answer. He said, the only thing I'm not going to talk about, ask me anything, just don't bring up my children, which is understandable. So the whole thing was question and answer. RVD shows up at one point.
Yeah, at one point, someone asked him a question, basically along the lines of who was your favorite person to manage, or if you could bring someone into modern day WWE and manage them, who would it be? And he was like, well, he's been there before, and he's in the room tonight. Sir!
Yeah.
And then you just hear him, yes.
Yeah, and then Rob Van Dam goes on the stage, and he actually, I kind of feel like he stayed on there maybe 5 minutes too long, but Rob Van Dam was cool, talking about everything, and very honest
Yeah.
with everything he said. And then I'm thinking about how cool it is, last minute thing that we went to this show, and then it happens.
Then it happened, yeah. So at some point, someone asked him a question about how he met or how he came to be Brock's manager.
Right.
And he said, well, initially the storyline was that I was going to manage Chris Benoit.
Right.
Well, every single time that he proceeded to say Chris Benoit during this little story, I guess,
Right.
Mark would
He would,
pretty audibly mumble, "My
Yeah,
boy."
He would look to me, so it's the way we were sitting. It was me at the very end. It was Pickle. It was Mark. And it was our friend Daniel. And then there was our British friend.
Our British friend that we met in line.
That we had been talking with, and he was really nice, and he came all the way to London by himself. Well, we're every time Mark is looking at me and saying, "My boy." I didn't think it was too loud, but we're very close to the stage.
Yeah, I mean, we were only 10 rows back, maybe 15 rows. I mean,
Yeah, 10.
Mark asked a question prior to that related to the ECW event at the Joe Brown Park or whatever.
Yeah, Joe Brown Arena. This was like in '98 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he has a question. So everybody already knew, like, what Mark looked like and everything. Well, anyway, after the fourth, my boy, Paul Heyman stops
And goes into promo mode.
Yeah, who is saying my boy? And Mark raises his hand. And then he just goes off on
A good 5-minute tirade, I'd say.
right. And you know that feeling like when like everything gets warm in your body, like that oh shit moment? That's what I got, and he wasn't even yelling at me.
Yeah.
And literally when he said, "Who is saying my boy?" I started crouching in my seat, like trying to get away. And yeah, after 5 minutes, he was done with Mark. But how did he end it, Pickle?
Oh, he ended it by straight up telling him, "Fuck you." Or he was like, "If Chris Benoit is your boy, well, fuck Chris Benoit and fuck you."
And all the crowd did.
And the crowd gave basically a standing ovation.
It was crazy. And it was funny that after the show, I think we were all just kind of like walking out. And I was like, man, I have never been so uncomfortable in my life. And we all started laughing. And then, I mean, it was funny. In the moment, I was like, oh my God, is this really happening? But looking back, I mean, this is something we'll never forget. So I'm glad Mark was there, and I'm glad it happened. And it was just like a funny thing. But for him, I'd say the second greatest manager of all time, Paul Heyman, behind Bobby Heenan.
Yes.
To curse out Mark for 5 minutes, I mean, that's great. And there were even people on Twitter the next day talking
that
about
were like, wow, you really put Benoit's boy in place.
Right. That Benoit guy is what one of them said, which is, I mean, that's crazy. But yeah, so it was a fun show. I'm glad we were there.
Yeah, it was a fun, and afterwards we even went down to Bourbon Street.
Yeah.
And last year you were very successful with meeting several wrestlers along the way.
Right.
How successful were we this time? Yeah.
Not successful at all. The only
We-
person we saw before we even walked on the Bourbon, like we were like crossing the street to get on the Bourbon, we see Tommy Dreamer, and we're like, Tommy, and he just like waved and wanted to go home. And other than that, we made our quick walk, and we did not see a wrestler.
Yeah. And, I mean, we didn't just, like, walk a block onto Bourbon. We walked all the way down to Oz.
Right, yeah. We're partying at Oz, and we didn't see anybody.
Well, we were looking also for, like, to see if Darren Young and Pat Patterson were partying.
Yeah, anybody. We
I mean,
wanted to see
yeah.
any kind of wrestler we could, but yeah.
So, the next day was Friday. We tried to go see The Miz.
Right.
Miz was doing a live appearance at a cricket
Cricket, yeah.
store on the West Bank.
Mm-hmm.
So I happened to see one of my friends, Brawler, was out there already. And I texted him and was like, hey, you still out there at cricket? And he was like, yeah, I'm 165 in line, and they're only taking 200 people, and there's probably 60 people behind me.
Mm.
So we ended up not going to see The Miz.
Yeah, we literally turned around, and we were like near the Superdome when we got off just to
Yeah.
turn around. But at least we knew and didn't go all the way to the West Bank and then have to come back. At least we found
traffic
out.
was really bad throughout WrestleMania week.
Yes.
In fact, we probably would have gotten to the Wildkat event a little sooner had traffic not been so heavy.
True.
So we ended up going where?
We went to BSI Comics to see Tim.
Yeah,
He was
our,
doing
our good buddy Tim Laddie.
doing Laddie Inc. Doing a signing for WWE with him and his writer friend.
Yes. And I got all the copies of the WWE comic that they.
Yeah,
did.
I mean they all looked really good.
Yeah, I am still in the process of reading through them,
Mm-hmm.
but so far what I've seen, I like.
Yeah.
I will give a full review of it on the next show. That night, Hall of Fame. We
Yes.
didn't go, but I stayed here and watched it.
Actually, everyone that we talked to who did go was just like, man, or people even made comments at like something to wrestle, and I know we'll get into all that, but it was just like saying how bad the Hall of Fame was, like if you went to that show. Like I guess it's cool, watching it at home because you can get up, you can go to the bathroom, you have all your food like right in front of you if you want to eat. But like just a show like that where it's just like dragging on, it can be a bit much.
Yeah, I was about 30 minutes behind on it, and I was watching it felt like until about 11:15.
Yeah, you see, I didn't even watch it that day, and I kind of like would break it up in segments. Like I just finished it today. Basically, I thought Edge and Christian did an awesome job opening up for the Dudleys.
Yeah, I really liked Edge and Christian's speech and the Dudleys' acceptance speech. I thought that Kid Rock, while his was short, he was very insightful.
Yes, I thought Kid Rock, he's a smart guy, and he knows, look, he knows it's a wrestling crowd, and I think he knew what he had to do to win over that audience. And him saying like this is better than any Grammys and everything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, the crowd loved it. So I think he did a great job.
Let's see. I thought that Goldberg speech was pretty good. I was exhausted by the end.
Right.
Mark Henry's was good. A little bit on the long side, but still good. Hillbilly Jim's was good, but long. I think he was one of the culprits that made it so long, which we can explain more about that very shortly with our expert knowledge
Right.
on Hillbilly Jim. Let's see. I mean, my favorites are probably the Edge and Christian and Dudleys. Just because the Dudleys, to see them, to see the Dudleys in a more jokeful manner other than just the wazah.
Yeah, I thought at times, I really liked their speech. I thought it was good. I thought at times Bubba Ray was a little hard on Devon and like giving him crap for it. And like, it was funny at first, but I don't think the audience really thought it was funny. You know, like giving him a hard time.
But on the same note, even seeing Bubba, which I understand that yes, there's some level of kayfabe that continues on with it, but like WWE Ride Along, if you watch the episode where they were on it, he seems like he's always kind of that slight dickish guy.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
You know, but I mean, on the same note, he knows he's a dick, but it's not his, I guess, full intention to always be a dick. That's just how he knows to act.
Right.
Let's see. So the next morning, we woke up and we went to Axxess.
Yeah, I came here at like 7:30 in the morning to go to Axxess.
So Axxess, we got to meet a bunch of people. We met Goldust.
Yes.
Who you dressed as for Halloween.
Well, yeah, I dressed it was a pay-per-view here. I forget which one it is offhand. But yeah, I dressed as Goldust and Mark dressed as Macho Man. So when we were meeting them in line, and the line was like, we were probably waiting there for what, like 15 minutes. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all.
So I actually showed Goldust my phone, the picture of Mark and I. I said, yeah, man, I'm a big fan of yours. You've been a great wrestler for WWE for 20 years. And for one of the pay-per-views down here, we dressed up as WWE wrestlers. And he looked at it, he goes, holy shit, that's pretty good. So that was cool to hear from Goldust.
I actually saw something on my news feed today that said that he had to clarify that he wasn't ready to hang up the boots yet. That there was people who were questioning if he was officially retired.
Wow. I mean, man, his last like 3 or 4 years, I guess like storyline wise, he's not, you know, as big as, you know, when he was in the 90s and early 2000s. But I mean, his wrestling and the type of shape he's in now, I mean, he's in great shape. And I think he has that makeup, so you can't ever tell if he's looking older, if he's getting older on TV. So I really feel like him in makeup also gives him like more years as a wrestler.
Oh, absolutely. You know, same thing with like Rey Mysterio, to where he's wearing the mask, so
Right.
you can't really see the age that has grown on him. So he still looks like that same 17-year-old kid who started in WCW, just
Right.
a little bit more muscular. Let's see, we met Jimmy Hart, baby.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, and then when we met Hart, I actually told him, I was like, hey, Jimmy, can you do me a favor? And he's like, what's that, baby? And I was like, can you tell the Hulkster that the WWE Universe desperately wants him back. And he's like, oh, sure will do that for you.
Well, we actually got to meet him because he was up there a little bit long.
Oh, that's true.
Because right when the superstar changeover happens, like for the first 2 hours of a session, there's wrestler A, and then for the last 2 hours of it, they put wrestler B in that same spot, and there's like 10 different places where you could meet superstars. Well, it was Jimmy Hart followed up by Hillbilly Jim. Well, right when the change-up happened, Hillbilly Jim was, for some reason, in the NXT ring.
He was probably long-winded in the
being
NXT
long-winded,
ring.
yes. Very long-winded.
Yep.
And as a result, like, we were able to say, we want to meet fucking Jimmy Hart, baby.
Yeah, we actually got to skip people because they're like, who's in line for Hillbilly Jim, who still wants to meet Jimmy Hart? We're like, we want to meet Jimmy Hart. So we got to skip all these people, meet him, and when we're leaving the Jimmy Hart picture, Hillbilly Jim's walking up, and we get to shake his hand.
Yeah, we got to shake his hand. We didn't get to take a picture with him, but, I mean...
And him and Pickle are best friends now. He wouldn't let you go. He just kept talking to you.
Yeah, he kept talking for... Well, then you got a picture with DDP.
Yeah, okay, so everybody that's watching this, I'm going to tell you a little secret how you can do it too. During that change, so like they'll have the lines, and then there's like an open space where the wrestler can leave, and there's a walkway where everybody can kind of walk, like fans even too. When the change is happening, you can hurry up and go to that side when the wrestler has to walk right there. And that's how I got to meet DDP. I took a selfie with Ivory.
Yes, you did.
I got to talk to X-Pac.
She want to marry you?
No, like she was all over me, but I was like, "Hey, I'm married."
Hey, I'm married already, baby.
I'm sorry, Ivory. But I got to just say hi to X-Pac as he was walking back. Yeah, so we actually, this is what I'll say. So I went to the WrestleMania 25 Axxess, and I feel like they've improved Axxess tremendously over the years because there were a lot of different wrestlers that you could meet at this one. There wasn't just like 5 different wrestlers, and then the lines were like obnoxious. They had a lot of selections.
There was so many different ones that you could meet at this one, even compared to 30. Like at 30 Axxess, I feel like we spent 3/4 of the time waiting in line to meet different people.
Yeah, so I think it was a lot of fun. Oh, I forgot to tell you this. So when I was walking out, not like this is a huge deal, but when I was walking out, Tom Phillips, the SmackDown announcer, he was walking by. I was like, Tom Phillips, how you doing? He's like, hey, how are you? And I just shook his hand and kept walking. But I thought Axxess had a lot of cool exhibits. I thought all the like action figures, that was a cool thing.
Action figure thing set up, that was real neat. I liked seeing the Elimination Chamber. The only problem with it was seeing Baron Corbin standing in it.
Right, so we saw the Elimination Chamber, we saw Corbin, and we said, let's go the other way. But, yeah, we got to meet the Armstrong family, which was neat. I mean, it was cool to really meet Road Dogg. That's kind of why we stayed in line.
Well, it also seemed like there was a lot more memorabilia stuff spread about throughout Axxess. Like, last time they only had, like, a very small wing, which was the Hall of Fame. It was probably similar to size to what we saw.
Yeah.
We went through, it was like where all the giant statues are. There was like the 10 different statues or whatever that they've declared, where it's like Flair, Warrior, Andre the Giant, Dusty Rhodes, Bruno Sammartino, maybe a Hulk Hogan or something like that.
I don't know if they had a Hogan one, but I mean, I think you pretty much named all the ones that they had,
And then they had another section where it was just like memorabilia specific to the guys who went into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
This year. and then there was like a women's revolution section.
Mm-hmm.
Well, besides that, like while you were waiting in line, there was, the coffin from, Over the Edge 2003, or
Right.
a trash can that was used at, December to remember 97, or something of that nature, to where it was just random memorabilia from all kinds of events everywhere.
Yeah.
So that was cool to see it more than just in like this little, 20 square foot room.
Mm-hmm.
The NXT matches going on there.
Yeah.
They had, I think, 3 different tournaments going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on throughout the whole event that we were there. So I'm glad we went.
Yeah, I had a good time at it. Following that, we went to Something to Wrestle
Yes.
at the House of Blues. I have to say that is probably my favorite event out of the entire.
Really, and that was the first thing we bought tickets for. When
Yeah.
you think about it, with the whole weekend. And we tried to get more people to come. They didn't want to go, and I kind of feel like they missed out. Like, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Something to Wrestle. That's a show that it's a podcast, and I think we might have said it before. Bruce Pritchard, who's Vince McMahon's right-hand man, he kind of helped with creative, and they'll just go through a certain topic. Like, hey, this week we're going to talk about Shawn Michaels. But it's not just Shawn Michaels. They start talking about all kind of different
all the
things.
feuds that he had through the years.
Right.
And things related to Shawn Michaels. Or they may just pick, like, as we were saying, like, On the Edge 99.
Right, and just go through a pay-per-view, and you're like, maybe, I don't know. But the way they break it down and say, well, we actually wanted to do this match, or we were going to do this, or this wrestler had a problem doing, like, it's cool to get that inside story. So this is a podcast that actually just got picked up by the WWE Network that premieres tonight. But so it's their live show, and they had a lot of different guests at the live show.
Yeah, they had Hornswoggle, who opened up the show with like a 10-minute stand-up routine.
Yeah, which was better than we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I thought it was just going to be like terrible dad jokes and then be like, here's Bruce.
Right. And then
we
we even started, he was saying how he's old now and he can't wrestle anymore. And we started a You Still Got It chant. And he actually acknowledged us, and he's like, y'all are crazy. I don't have it anymore. Or he made some kind of joke, but it was funny that we started that chant.
Let's see. So there was Hornswoggle. There was Pat Patterson. There was Jerry Briscoe. There was JBL. There was Jonathan Coachman. There was the Hurricane, Eric Bischoff, Sean Mooney, Jeff Jarrett. Animal?
Oh, yeah, Animal's there too, yep.
Is he the one who's still around?
Yeah, yes. That's the one. Yeah.
And he's apparently got a podcast, What a Rush.
Yeah, I think, and I think Bischoff's starting a new podcast.
Yeah, he's
with
starting
Conrad.
one called like 83 Weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And all it is just talking about the 83 weeks that he was. I think it's the 83 weeks that Nitro was on top.
Yeah.
In the Monday Night Wars.
I think that could be interesting. I thought Pat Patterson's singing was just incredible.
Dude, to see him singing My Way.
Yeah, like, I mean, it was so good. JBL is a friggin' maniac. Like, just, I mean, he seemed like so like, oh my God, just antsy and stuff. And then he's telling the fans, well, and guess what? Don't do drugs. Oh, you know what? I don't care. Do drugs.
Yeah.
And then
he started at least 10 drugs chains.
Yeah, and everybody would just say drugs.
Drugs.
It was incredible. After the show, we got to meet Bruce Pritchard. We took a picture with him.
We did, and we got to meet Conrad.
Yeah, Conrad. Did you think they were nice?
Yeah, I thought they were both super appreciative of us coming to the show.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't just seem to be like, oh, let me smile and grin and make it, and then just turn around and be like fucking brats.
Right. And actually, after the show, we went to the bar next door to House of Blues just to meet up with some friends. And Conrad actually walked in
Yeah.
there with his family. And I actually asked him a question. I was like, hey, since y'all started with the WWE Network, are you still going to keep your old podcast? And he took time to answer the question. And, I mean, his answer was they're still going to do the old podcast plus do this WWE Network one as well.
Well, he also kind of mentioned that with that show, they're going to be able to go back and hit some of the topics that they may have hurried through. Like when they first started, they were only doing like hour and 15-minute episodes.
Right.
And that's kind of not a lot of time to talk about Hulk Hogan or Dusty Rhodes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because right when they started, they were going with like, hey, let's get these big pop shot hits, you know?
Right.
And they were only giving it an hour and 15. So they cut out a lot of storyline that they could have talked about with those. So that evening, we went to the Ring of Honor Supercard. The highlight match, in my opinion, it's going to be the Omega Cody match.
Yeah.
I mean, they put on an incredible show. There was a couple matches that I really, really liked. That Cody Omega match, I mean, they gave it 150%.
It kind of just shows, man, that when Cody Rhodes is the real deal. Just the way he moves in the ring, it's hard to explain, but just like everything kind of means something in the ring with him. He's improved. I don't know if he's improved or WWE just wasn't using him right, or maybe it's a little of both.
I think it's a little bit of both. You know, I mean that, you know, in order to be a good chef, they say that you need to be well-rounded. You know, that you can't just go get trained in Louisiana. Or, you know, they make you go to New York or to France or someplace else to get that full, well-rounded idea. And I think because he spent most of his wrestling time in WWE, you know, he didn't really have a lot of chance to grow because, especially during a lot of that time, it didn't seem like the people that they were putting him up against really altered that much. That they kept him within a small circle of wrestlers that he was fighting. Well, now he's fighting at all these independents and all these you know, smaller card venues, but he's getting a chance to fight guys like Kenny Omega and, you know, big names that he wasn't getting to wrestle in WWE because they either have never wrestled there or things just didn't work out at that time.
Yeah, I really feel like Cody Rhodes stole the show. Tim came to the show with us, and he didn't really know too much about Ring of Honor or Cody Rhodes. And after the show, he's like, "Man, he was awesome. He's one of my favorite wrestlers now." So that kind of shows like an outsider looking in, even can see the talent of Cody Rhodes.
Yeah. Another one that really floored me was that ladder match.
Yeah, that was insane.
They had a ladder match to where it was Kazarian and
It was a
Daniels.
Yeah.
And they had one other person with them versus the Young Bucks
Right.
and this dude Flip Jones or something
Flip
like that?
Gordon.
Flip Gordon.
Yeah.
And that Flip Gordon guy was incredible.
Yeah, he
At
came
one
on the show
point-
like 3 times.
Yeah. At one point, he jumped from ladder to ladder to ladder to turnbuckle, back to ladder, up, was almost getting the belt down, and fell.
Right. And then the way the match ended, one of the Young Bucks was on top of this ladder that's probably 20 feet in the air. The ladder gets pushed off, and it's going down, so he's going to fall out the ring. There's a guy on the table, so he just does an elbow drop. This was probably a 30-foot elbow drop. It was insane. And then, let's see, Christopher Daniels was the one that got up and got the belt for his team to win.
Yeah.
But it was just a cool way to end the match.
Yeah, that was an exciting match. And it was like the first or second match on the main card.
Mm-hmm.
It was very early in the card. I know we missed one or two matches in their pre-show.
Right.
Like, we missed Emma. She was wrestling in the pre-show. Luke Hawx had a match during the pre-show. We missed that.
Yeah.
But it was because that Saturday was...
It was pretty intense, wrestling-wise.
That was the equivalent of my parade chase for WrestleMania week.
Yeah.
Let's see, the Page versus Ibushi match. That was a cool match too.
Yeah.
That was the one where I think Ibushi won, if I remember correctly.
I believe so.
But there was a lot of spots in that one.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it was a good card. It was just a long show.
Yeah. Oh, and I even overlooked it here. The Briscoes match, that was good. Briscoes with Jay Lethal.
Yeah, I thought it was good, but I feel like their last time they were here, they had a better match. But, I mean, it was still decent. I feel like Lethal was in there for his team more than Tanahashi. Tanahashi was barely ever in the ring.
Yeah. But I think that was really to show Jay Lethal's moment to shine, per se.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
You know, that I think, I don't know too much about Tanahashi, but I think that was all set up to be the get Jay Lethal over more.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, he's put on some great matches, and even back in TNA, he had some great matches.
Yeah.
So, I'd like to see him in WWE eventually. But yeah, that event was a little long, to where we left before the Dalton Castle match even happened.
Yeah, I'm almost like embarrassed to say that as a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
But at that point,
We were so exhausted from a full day,
mm-hmm.
and
then the ride that Cody and Kenny took us on, because that was like a 40-minute match.
Yeah.
And by that time, one of our friends was passed out in his seat from drinking. So it was time to go. But when we left, there was actually a lot of people leaving.
Yeah, I mean, it was hard to stand up against that Cody Omega match. It was real hard to compete against that one. Yeah, I'd definitely be interested to go to the Ring of Honor event again next time that one is here.
Oh, definitely.
One other thing that I have on my notes related to it, the hamburger segment.
Yeah.
Cheeseburger, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Cheeseburger.
That Cheeseburger was supposed to have like an unannounced match, and his partner got jumped.
Mm-hmm.
So then he called out Bully Ray to be his partner.
Right.
And then Bully Ray, I don't know if this is going to be long-term story, but Bully Ray had a serious heel turn.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody was cheering for him, like, join him, and he ended up essentially
Power bombing
him down, and then
mm-hmm.
telling him, who the fuck do you think you are? And proceeded to say that people like him and Joey Ryan and all these wrestlers that have, I guess, goofy gimmicks are the reason why wrestling is dead.
Yeah, it was a good segment.
Let's see. So, let's take a little 3-minute break and
Okay.
come back, and we'll talk about NXT Takeover, and then we'll get into WrestleMania and the other WWE news.
Sounds good.
All right, so NXT Takeover. It sounds like I'm the only one who really got to watch it. NXT Takeover, I was really impressed with. And even from what I heard from people who went to the show, they left super wowed like we did from Ring of Honor, because it was going on at the exact same time.
Mm-hmm.
For starters, the North American Championship ladder match, which, if I remember correctly, it opens up the show. And that match was awesome. It was like a 6-man ladder match. And Cage won that one in the long run. That was
Adam Cole?
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Cole.
Adam Cole, baby.
Yeah, he won, and it was EC3, Killian Dane, Lars Sullivan, Ricochet, and Velveteen Dream. Which Velveteen Dream, I'm hearing talk, may be coming to the main roster. And it wouldn't surprise me if once everything settles with the Superstar Shakedown that they just did,
Mm-hmm.
that it wouldn't surprise me if we see Adam Cole show up with that North American Championship and at least do a match or two here and there on Raw or SmackDown or even a pay-per-view. Another one that was really cool, the Undisputed Era versus Authors of Pain and Pete Dunne and Roderick Strong. In the end, that one, Pete Dunne and Roderick Strong won. Undisputed Era won because Roderick Strong and Pete Dunne had a falling out at the end of that match. The other big match that I wanted to bring up was the Gargano versus Ciampa match. That match was fucking awesome too. It was like a 30-40 minute match.
So
It felt like it, at least.
what was the match of the night? If I had to just watch one.
I'd say probably the ladder.
Okay.
The ladder match was really good. Yeah, I'd recommend going back and watching it.
Okay.
NXT has been doing some good stuff, as we can see with the Superstar Shakedown that they just did. That we had like 6 or 7 people, it feels like, that came over, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, because now WrestleMania. So my favorite match of the night.
Oh, well, can I interrupt you for a second?
Sure.
So, I just want to talk about when I was walking into the Superdome for WrestleMania.
Okay.
I actually had 2 crazy moments. The first moment that I had, my WrestleMania moment, was with no other than The Miz. I had a Miz moment.
Dude.
So yeah,
awesome.
I didn't
Yeah.
tell you all this shit. So my wife and I are walking in to the Superdome. We're walking in and on the floor, but right when we get into the doors, on the right of us was like a special hallway, I guess, where the wrestlers are. And I see The Miz, and we lock eyes. It's probably from here, maybe like 15 feet away, and I look at him, and he does this, like don't come up to me at all. And I'm like, all right, okay, I'm not going to do that. Because, I know he's like prepping for his match and all this. And he's a lot taller in person. Like, they always have him against these giants. The dude's probably like 6'4". But he's doing this. And so I'm not going to go up to him. And he's walking towards me because he was going to go towards the other hallway. But I just start yelling, greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time! Greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time! And he just like looked and smiled and kept walking. But still, like, I had a Miz moment, right?
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, so
that is awesome.
it kind of worked out. And then after that, maybe, no lie, 2 minutes later, I'm walking in. I look behind me. Guess who I see? Macaulay Culkin from Home Alone and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So I'm like,
Yeah, he's apparently got a podcast that he does with this guy Matt Cohen, and I guess he's a big wrestling fan.
he's a huge wrestling fan. So I go up to him. I'm like, hey man, what that? I saw your, because he did a match against Hornswoggle. Remember, like 3 months ago?
Yeah.
I was like, I saw your independent stuff. It's really good. And I was like, hey, and I never do this. I'm like, hey, you mind if I get a selfie? And he's like, oh, I'm with a lot of people. And I was like, okay, don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it. Just welcome to New Orleans. I shake hands with him. I think that's over. I think it's over. So I go sit in my seats, and Hannah and I are sitting there. We look. Macaulay Culkin comes and sits right behind us. Like,
So you had better seats than Macaulay Culkin.
I did. I was one row in front, but when I say he was right behind us, it's not like he was directly behind me.
Yeah, the seat
Directly
that you were
behind.
in, like row G,
Yeah,
seat
seat-
4, and he was row H, seat 4.
Exactly. And it was him and his wife or girlfriend, and then his two brothers and their wife and girlfriends, or wife or girlfriends, whatever. But they were really cool. Like, I was kind of starstruck, to be honest, at the first match. I'm just like, I can hear them talking wrestling. And I'm like, holy shit, this is Macaulay Culkin. And every now and then, like, we would talk back and forth. His other brother that was in Home Alone with him, like, I talked with him.
Oh,
the
yeah,
most.
yeah, the one who was in, I think, Home Alone 3.
Okay, yeah. So
Yeah, like, he took over when Macaulay Culkin was like, hey, I'm going to start getting all, like, cracked out and whatever.
but they were really cool. Like, they knew their stuff, and yeah, that was kind of a crazy WrestleMania moment for me. First the Miz, and then Macaulay Culkin sitting behind me for 7 hours for the WrestleMania show.
Yeah, mine was not as impressive. I had B-Goat sitting next to me, while illustrious as that is.
Right.
We were up in the rafters. I was contemplating, like, minutes before buying tickets. Like, we both bought tickets, 30 minutes before the ticket
Yeah.
sale, the online
And
ticket
I kind
sales
of feel
closed
like
off.
it was stressful, but it was like the way to go.
Oh,
because
yeah.
my tickets were probably half the price that they were supposed to be.
Same here. Mine, I think I paid like $45 each for mine, and the face value on them was like 80.
Right. So you got 2 for 1.
Yeah. So the highlight match for me, I'm gonna have to say that the highlight match for me was the Ronda Rousey, Kurt Angle, Stephanie, and Triple H match.
So that was my match of the night as well. They brought it. That was the only match that I've actually rewatched since, and I mean the whole match was entertaining. We knew
the
that
whole match they were telling a story.
right, and we knew there were going to be some different spots where like Ronda Rousey wasn't going to start the match. It was going to take her like 10 minutes before she got that tag. We knew that was going to happen, but once she got in there. What did y'all think of her performance, man?
I thought that she was on. I thought that she looked really good in the ring. There was one like shoulder toss that she did on Stephanie that looked a little bit dirty, but I mean everything else, she looked great.
Yeah, I have to give her an A+ for her first wrestling match. It's in front of 78,000
Yeah.
people, and she killed it.
Let's see. I really liked that match. I thought that the whole time I was entertained with that match. And going in, I was afraid that Stephanie may actually have to carry somebody because of Ronda's inexperience in a wrestling ring, or that Rousey was going to have to take it super light as to play down to Stephanie.
Right. And you know what was also a nice surprise? So remember, like, during the Attitude Era, like, Bubba Ray is power bombing Mae Young in the tables and stuff, and it was just like ridiculous with like the violence with that. But I did like how at one point Ronda Rousey's like hitting Triple H, and then Shane McMahon. I mean, not Shane McMahon. Kurt Angle is putting Stephanie in the ankle lock. Like, that was cool to see stuff like that happening.
Let's see. I was happy to see Bray return and help out his buddy Matt Hardy.
Yeah, I thought the Andre the Giant Battle Royal was actually entertaining. They mixed some storylines in it, and to see Bray Wyatt come out the way he did with, the lights go out and all of a sudden he's in the ring was a surprise. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. Yeah, I was expecting that he wasn't going to come back until, at best, the Raw after SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Raw after WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Let's see. The whole pre-show wasn't, well, the first two of the pre-show weren't that bad. I thought that the Andre the Giant match was really good. I thought that the Cruiserweight match was really good.
Yeah.
The Women's Battle Royale, I had complaints with.
Well, like what?
One thing that I would have liked to see is I would have liked to see that story play out a little bit more between Bayley and Sasha. Apparently they're playing it up to where that's going to be, I guess, at the next pay-per-view, but they had that story told before WrestleMania, and I would have preferred to see that over the Women's Battle Royale. The first half of it, there was too many women in the ring to where it was almost hard to tell who the hell was getting tossed out.
Mm-hmm.
I heard, I think Jim Cornette said it, to where he was like, I didn't even realize that Naomi had left the ring.
I didn't realize it either.
And it was apparently that she went underneath the ring at some point, right when 150 women were getting tossed over.
Like, did she get hit and then left the ring, or she just she
got hit and then slid under, like was laying there hurt kind of thing.
I gotcha.
Under the ropes,
I don't think that really works if you're a baby face either. Like, if you're a nasty heel that's cheating to win, I think that's a cool spot, but not in this case.
Yes. While I have no problem with her winning, I think that, the dirtiness of I was in all along, just went underneath the ropes to relax, a la Danny Flamingo when he got his Revolution champion.
Mm-hmm.
That was a little bit off for her character. Also, one thing that I noticed, did you pay attention to the trophy?
No, I didn't.
It basically looks like a vaginal cavity.
Really?
Yeah, like, that drawing that you study in sex ed or whatever,
right.
to where, like, the handles look like the ovaries and the whole 9 yards.
Right, okay. I'll have to look at that.
I don't need to give a sex ed class. Go back and look at the fucking trophy.
I will.
The Miz Balor Rollins match, that started off the main WrestleMania. What did you think about that?
I think it was an entertaining match. I didn't like to see The Miz lose the title.
Yeah, neither did I.
And I don't like Finn Balor. Like, I'm not a fan of his. But I would rather him be the Intercontinental Champion than Seth Rollins. I feel like Rollins is above the Intercontinental title, and I don't get it.
Well, in all due respect, The Miz is above the Intercontinental belt. But he was telling that story so well, and it would have been nice to see him. I think he was like 15 days away or something like that from, I guess, coming in like at either number 1 or number 2 for longest reigning Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a little disappointing to see him lose. Overall, I did think that the match was cool. When I went back and watched that match, I noticed that Rollins was wearing blue contacts when he went in. I didn't notice it from up in.
Did
You know,
he wore their?
I didn't notice it from the moon.
He didn't. He didn't wear those like the whole match, or he just wore them. He just wore them at the entrance, or
No, I think he was wearing them the whole time.
the whole match. Okay, yeah.
It
I
was
didn't
just
know.
these contacts that made him have like the Winter Walkers or whatever.
The White Walkers?
The White Walkers.
Yeah,
From Game of Thrones. He looked like one of those.
I see.
I don't know how I feel about that. This overusing of the graphics, I noticed. Ever since the mixed match challenge, they're using like all these like this like 3D text and almost what looks like Snapchat-ish filters to where like the puppy dog faces and shit like that you'll see like girls posting on Facebook and all that. The same kind of premise. I feel like they were using little things of that nature throughout WrestleMania, and parts of it on the TV kind of took away from it. It made it look less refined of a show. While I understand that they were trying to show, hey, we're up and up with the times and the technology, and we know that all the kids like to put puppy dog faces on themselves, but it didn't need it.
Yeah.
It didn't need it to push it over. The Asuka Charlotte match, that was an early match. It went like 15 or 20 minutes.
Yeah, I thought that was a great match.
Going back and watching it, yes, it was incredible. At the event, that was right when I got up to like go use the bathroom or something, to where when I got back, the match was pretty much ending.
I was shocked by the
So-
outcome. I didn't see Asuka winning this one.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't see Charlotte
I
winning this
didn't.
one.
I didn't see Charlotte winning. I thought that they were going to tell that Asuka storyline a lot longer than they did. I figured that the streak was going to go another year. Just to really nail home the impressiveness of the streak.
Mhm.
The next match was the U.S. Championship match, which your boy won. And if you'll notice on my notes, I even said Jinder was U.S. champ because
Right.
on Raw this week he lost the belt.
Yeah, I don't get that move. I guess I'll save my thoughts on that for the shakeup. But I guess if anyone was gonna win, I feel like Rusev kind of should have won.
Yes.
But
I've got a lot to say about Rusev too. I'm almost hearing, or I'm hearing a lot of rumors that Rusev may be asking to leave WWE.
I just don't understand it. With a guy that's so over, the fans want to see
He
be
is-
successful.
Throughout Wrestling Week, the most popular shirt that I saw in on the fans was Rusev Day shirts.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, they keep holding him down, and I don't get it right now.
Yeah, I'm going to talk a lot more about him in a little bit. But your boy won.
Yeah, so I went home happy with that.
Yeah. Let's see. The next match was the Rousey Angle match, which we've pretty well covered.
Yes.
The match of the night. Following that was the SmackDown match, to where the SmackDown tags, to where it was the Bludgeon Brothers and New Day and the Usos, to where the Bludgeon Brothers won it. But the highlight of that one was New Day coming down with midgets dressed as pancakes.
Yeah. Was the little Wildcat guy there too?
Yeah, Shorty was one of the pancake
That's
guys.
what I thought.
So Shorty had his WrestleMania moment. Shorty, we watching you, buddy. We watching.
We see. I thought that was a cool match. I didn't really think the Bludgeon Brothers were going to win. I really thought that New Day or the Usos were going to keep the title and not pin one of the Bludgeon Brothers, you know what I mean, to win. But it was a short match. They're still doing that storyline where they're just straight dominating.
That's going to continue for a few months. I think the dance between those three.
Mm-hmm. I like though that it wasn't this 25-minute match. Like some matches, to be good, it doesn't need to be this drawn out match. You can have a match like this and it's just as good. Yeah,
and I thought that the storyline to it went well with it being not as long. The next one, this is where it starts to get a little bit weird for me. This is where it starts getting weird. All right, for starters, throughout the whole show, John Cena was sitting like front row in the audience because he said, because I don't have a match until I'm fully set up with a match, I'm sitting right here front row. And I guess he was sitting there with Jarius or whoever.
Well, another crazy story. So at one point before the show, or I don't know, during the show, something, I went to go to the bathroom. I see this guy from grammar school that I hadn't seen in, I don't know, man, 7-8 years. My friend Chris Gotro. He goes, dude, you won't believe it. John Cena is sitting directly next to me and my wife. I'm like, what? So Macaulay Culkin's sitting behind me, and his wife is sitting right next to John Cena. I mean, the chances of that's insane. Yeah. But, yeah, so we didn't know if this... Well, we knew it was going to happen, the Taker Cena match, but... Okay, go on.
So, the referee runs out at the end of that match and whispers something to John Cena. Or no, at the end of the Charlotte match, he comes out and whispers something in his ear, and he disappears to the back. Well, then about 15, 20 minutes later, all of a sudden his music comes on. He comes out to the ring, and he says, all right, I hear somebody's calling out for me. Come on out. Goes dark. You hear a guitar. Mm-hmm. And Elias comes out, and he cuts a promo, and he says, "Why don't you go back to doing what you did, what you do best, and go sit in the audience."
Yeah.
Elias's bit was cool, and then John Cena got pissed off and did a match with him, and squashed Elias.
Mm-hmm.
While I would have loved to see Elias win, for him to be in one of the quote-unquote top spots of the night, I can't complain.
Right.
So then Elias loses. John Cena's standing there, and like his music kicks on. Basically saying, get the fuck out of here. You already had your match.
Right.
He gets halfway up the ramp, and then the lights go out again. Spotlight comes on in the ring, and it's the Taker's shit from last year. All his hat and gloves and boots and coat and whatever the hell else he left in the ring. Lights go back out. Comes back on. The shit's gone. Taker's music comes out. Grandpa takes 10 minutes to come down. And Taker squashes fucking Cena. Like, he made Cena look extremely pitiful.
He made Cena look like James Ellsworth.
Yeah. I really didn't like the way that match went. I understood that Taker needed to that I guess Taker needs to win every match now to not lose the legacy of his streak. But at this point, I don't want to see a match at all with Taker. I want to see Taker at WrestleMania. I want to see him be the voice of reason, to where like when you're a shithead heel and you have your fight, maybe like leading up to WrestleMania, you make fun of Undertaker in some fashion, and then when your match is done, all of a sudden lights go down, lights come up. There's Taker. He choke slams you, tombstones you, lights go out, lights come back on, he's gone.
Right.
Or, let him do his saunter back up the ramp, do the fist at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So long as he's not taking his sweet ass time doing it. I felt like it took up way too much time for him to go and squash Cena, and didn't really tell a good story to me.
I heard that there may be the reason that squash happened is maybe next WrestleMania they have a rematch and it's actually a longer match. Like maybe part of the storyline is, I don't know, Cena saying, I wasn't on my A game, give me another shot kind of thing. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but I'm just saying that's what I heard.
Yeah, I don't want to see The Undertaker wrestle at WrestleMania anymore. I'm sorry, Undertaker. You were one of my favorites as a kid. I always played as you on the WWF WrestleMania arcade game, where you could like shoot souls and shit.
Yeah.
And like when you did like a double fist thing, instead of it being a hammer, it would show a tombstone. I was not really happy with that match whatsoever. I thought that it took too much time, and I thought that the go between Elias and Taker was choppy and didn't seem like it was smooth running at all. So I hope that they don't do that shit again. Let's see. Watching that one back on TV, when apparently when the lights went on Undertaker's shit in the ring and went off, there was a lightning bolt that they showed on TV that again looked like Snapchat shit, and it looked tacky. It looked like crappy special effects. With the budget and technology that WWE has, that lightning bolt should not have looked as shitty as it did.
Mm-hmm.
If you really don't believe me, suffer through it and go watch it. You'll agree. It looked shitty. Let's see. The next thing was Daniel Bryan and Shane versus KO and Sammy.
I was pretty underwhelmed by this match.
Well, I was underwhelmed with Shane's work in the match. They didn't really give Daniel Bryan a whole ton of time.
No.
In the match. It seemed like that match was very short. And I think, again, it was because they had 15 matches or whatever on the card. It was nice to see Daniel Bryan back in the ring, but I thought that they could have told a little bit better story. See, the Alexa versus Nia Jax match. That was another one that I was a little bit disappointed in. While I understood, or I knew that they were leading it up to Nia winning that belt. I just feel like that match was a little bit choppy.
Yeah, I didn't really care for this match at all. And I mean, I think we talked about this before. Just having a monster, some like Nia Jax, she shouldn't be a baby face. She should be a heel. But I just didn't like the story going into it, and that kind of like hindered me from even liking the match.
Well, one other thing that I have here is that throughout the match, it seemed like every time that Alexa hit Nia, that Nia would start crying again.
Yeah, it's just
And it's like, I don't want to see my champion crying other than I'm so happy I am the champion.
right.
So, yeah, I didn't like this match too much. AJ Nakamura.
This match, everybody was saying this is a dream match. At this point in the show, I think it was putting people to sleep.
Yeah.
I know that's Dave's boy, AJ Styles. However, I think the placement of the match and the card, people were exhausted, and it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. Maybe if I watch it back, it may be better on television. But the only part that I did like was seeing Nakamura turn at the end.
Yeah, I did like seeing him do that heel turn. I mean, the match was okay, but I thought that, yeah, it could have been a lot better. Maybe there wasn't enough like high-risk spots or what. I can't put my finger on what it was about it that I didn't like, but yeah, I wasn't.
People were picking this match to be the match of the
Yeah,
night.
everybody was saying that it was going to steal the show.
And I don't even think it was in the top, 5-6 matches, which is
Yeah.
crazy to even say.
Yeah. So the next match, the Raw Tag Team match.
Yeah, so this was one of the matches where we were all excited. Like, who is Braun Strowman? So first off,
for weeks they were leading up the storyline. Oh, I'm gonna have a special partner. You know, that they were leading it to be like, oh, it's gonna be a big return. It's gonna be somebody like Bobby Lashley. It's gonna be a Big Cass. It's gonna be maybe a reappearance of somebody like I don't know, anyone, like a Rob Van Dam, or there was a billion people who were in town.
So before
they could have easily thrown in as, oh, this is my temporary partner.
So before the match, my new friend, Macaulay Culkin's brother, me and Kieran Culkin are talking, right? And I'm like, hey, who do you think is going to be? He said he thought it was going to be the Big Show. And and I was like, okay. I go, I think it's going to be Hulk Hogan. And he goes, if it's Hulk Hogan, I'll give you $20. And I'm just like, okay, well, we're hoping it's going to be somebody, though, like you're saying.
Yeah.
And then the way they did it, where Braun Strowman comes out, and then he's going to pick someone from the crowd, it was just like, oh, man. So now this one part that we were waiting for, this big surprise to return, it wasn't there.
Instead, it was a 10-year-old kid named Nicholas.
Yeah.
Which I would have had no problem with the whole kid angle thing under one situation. Had it been the little kid that they just inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
He seemed to be very charismatic. And furthermore, I think that in order to fully sell it, the kid would have had to get tagged in like Nicholas did and either pulled off some sort of move like, stomp on Sheamus's foot or something.
Right.
And then when he goes to tag, that he has to climb the turnbuckles to tag Braun Strowman.
Mm-hmm.
And then Strowman simply pick him up and put him on the stairs or, put him on the ring apron and get back in the ring and do his finishing move, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
But with it not being a big return and not being Jarius, I thought that it was a huge flop. There was a lot of people who said that they thought that this was going to, the whole reason that they did the Nicholas thing was to give the impression that, oh, anywhere that I go, that WWE goes, you never know. they could need somebody from the audience again to even more encourage that you need to get a ticket to
the
go
show.
to a live event.
Right.
But yeah, I thought that they really flopped on that, especially saying that they had to relinquish the belts the next day because Nicholas has got previous engagements, the 4th grade.
Yeah.
Such a failure, WWE. Such a failure with that Nicholas storyline.
Yeah.
So the last match, the Universal Championship.
I thought this was a terrible match. The crowd wasn't into it. However, I liked the ending because it's not what we thought was going to happen. When Brock Lesnar won, it was like, holy crap. So is he staying with WWE? What's going on here? So I just liked that. I assumed that I was going to go home mad that Roman Reigns won because we just knew that was going to happen. But they threw a little curveball at us, which I thought was good.
I wanted to see Roman win mainly because I want to see the belt more often. I'm tired of the belt being hidden behind closed doors for 3/4 of the year. I want to see the reason why all these people are fighting. You know what I mean? Ultimately, that's what it boils down to, is that, you know, you are a WWE superstar to win the WWE Championship. You know, and from the way that they're playing the storyline, the Universal Championship is supposed to be the cream of the crop.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I'm not seeing someone win that belt, or if I'm not seeing someone with that belt, well, what are they fighting for? The Intercontinental belt? Sure, it's a luxurious belt, but I want to see the big boy belt.
So did you watch this match again, like on the network?
Yes.
And what did you think from that perspective, just watching it on TV?
Watching it on TV, I thought that
Was it better or worse than like in person? Because in person it was like, man, that was kind of a dud. But I don't know, like with the commentators and everything, if they made the match better.
a little bit. I think that also one of the things that affected it was fatigue. You know, the fact that you'd been watching wrestling for 7 or 8 hours at that point.
Yeah.
And, you know, by that time, I was almost like, okay, just finish this match. I want to go get some sleep.
Right.
So I rewatched it the next day, and I thought that the match itself was a little bit better. The quietness of the crowd was eerie. Again, just because everyone was either gone or, you know, exhausted at that point.
Well, the thing is, I thought their match at WrestleMania 31, when it was Roman versus Brock main event, and then Seth Rollins came in,
Yeah.
cashed in. That match, even before Seth Rollins cashed in, I thought was outstanding.
Yeah, I thought that it wasn't that bad of a match.
And now, as good as that match was, this one was bad.
Yes, absolutely. This one, the only thing that was the big, I guess, shocker with it was how Brock busted Roman way open to end WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I was not expecting to see a gallon of blood pouring down.
No, it looked like he shot him in the
Roman's
face.
Yeah. One thing that I am going to say, I heard it a lot this week, or that week. This is awesome. Not everything is awesome, people. I'm sorry.
I think the people that start those chants, they just want to see if they could be like, hey, we started
Yeah.
that chant. You
Yeah.
know? But yeah, I agree with you. We hear this is awesome way too much.
Yeah, like it started off to where it was like only saved for when there was like 60-minute matches and shit like that. But like now there's like 3-minute matches and you'll hear people, this is awesome. This is awesome. It all can't be awesome. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, folks. So overall, how would you grade WrestleMania on like a A through F scale? You know,
I'd give it a B plus personally.
I'm gonna have to give it a C.
Wow. Okay.
A C, just because. I mean, if we're looking at it, basically this half of this or most of this second half here, we gave thumbs down on.
Yeah.
I mean,
It
half
gets
of
an
your
I
card
from
kind
me.
of gave a. Dave gives it an I.
Incomplete bullshit. That's why I didn't watch it.
I don't know. I guess maybe being there, I had a fun time.
Yeah, I mean, being there added some of the excitement, but some of these game or some of these matches that should have overwhelmed us underwhelmed,
Yeah.
and I feel like too many of them did.
Okay, so I want to ask y'all a question. Since everyone's talking about the fatigue, it's an 8-hour show. Do you ever think they're going to do a 2-day WrestleMania event?
God.
Yeah, I see it. I see it coming to where they're gonna have to split it up in some fashion to where,
I just hope they never. I don't know, man, because it's
It
going to be
wouldn't
like.
surprise me. It'd be like a festival kind of thing.
But then it's like, well, what night are you going to? I want to see this match. Well, I want to see that match.
Right.
Like, I don't know. Like, I understand why you would do it because it's such a long day, but I almost feel like you're almost cheating the audience if they can only afford or go to one of the shows,
yeah.
So,
Either that or they need to make it to where it's like I hate to say it, but almost like an all-day event to where, like, there's a 2-hour intermission or an hour intermission in
Yeah.
between
right.
to allow you to get up and go stretch, go smoke, go get a drink, get something to eat.
Yeah.
Give you a decent amount of intermission and do it like a rock concert.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would save it a lot, and I think that they need to make it to where it starts just earlier in the day to where it can finish up at a decent hour. Because I didn't get home until like 1 in the morning, and I literally walked out of the ramp, immediately started looking for a cab.
A Hoover?
Yeah, a Hoover. I was looking for a Hoover all the time.
Yeah.
And, yeah, we spent like an hour looking for a Hoover.
Wow.
So, yeah, that part I think would help save it, is to make it a little bit less jam-packed into 5 hours,
Mm-hmm.
or, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, all right, so let's start this off here with the Superstar Shakedown and Arrivals. There was a lot of people who changed brands this week.
Mm-hmm.
For starters, we had The Miz, who moved to SmackDown. We had a couple new guys from NXT, which we talked about earlier. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 people so far from NXT that have crossed over to the main roster in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We had Jeff Hardy return. We had the return of Samoa Joe. We saw Big Cass this week return.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately, let's see, on the Raw show, Jeff Hardy had a match right at the beginning versus Jinder Mahal for the U.S. champ.
Yeah, that was terrible. My boy loses his title, and then he's not even going to rematch because then Jeff Hardy jumps to SmackDown the next day. So the only good thing I can think is, okay, now on Raw, You got my boy Jinder Mahal.
Yes.
You got Heath Slater, baby.
Heath Slater, baby.
And now you got Drew McIntyre.
You do.
So we might have a 3MB reunion at some point, which I'll just lose my shit for. Okay, so with all the Superstar Shakeups, now they got Dolph and Drew McIntyre kind of teaming together.
Yes.
Maybe that's something that will kind of like re-energize Dolph's career. Because we've never really seen him like as a tag team, huh?
No,
Like-
we haven't.
Like he was in the Spirit Squad, but maybe it'll be cool if he's in a tag team with somebody else. And Drew McIntyre might be that guy.
Yeah, that may be what it takes to actually breathe a little new life into that Dolph Ziggler character.
Right. Baron Corbin going to Raw, I don't care. Bobby Roode going to Raw, I don't care. Like I hate Bobby Roode. Okay, another thing. So the Miz going to SmackDown. The thing I don't like about that, there's one positive, one negative with that. The negative is he is not where the Intercontinental Championship is. And
Yes.
I feel like he honestly is one of the greatest Intercontinental champs ever. I want to see him get that belt and break the record. That's the negative. The positive is maybe he will become the world champion on SmackDown, which I
Yeah,
think
I
he
mean,
deserves.
One thing with the move is with Raw, you've got a lot of big, tall guys, and that main event A-lister group is really jam packed.
Yeah.
You know, you got the Brock, you got the Roman, you got the Rollins, you got the Brawns.
Sammy and KO now.
Yeah, Sammy and KO. Whereas on SmackDown, you have The Miz, AJ, Nakamura,
And Daniel Bryan.
and Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
So, I think that he has a higher chance to be in that main event match all the time. And while, yes, I understand that wrestling is predetermined or, that it's staged fighting, whatever you want to call it, on the same note, it has to be believable
Right.
to me. It's kind of hard for me to believe that The Miz can beat a big wild animal guy like Brock Lesnar, or a 7-foot whatever guy like Braun Strowman.
Do you like that they broke up the Miztourage?
No, I wish that they would have brought the Miztourage over there because I liked it. Adds to that heel character of him having little douchebags behind him that
Yeah.
do his dirty work.
Unfortunately, I think Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas now are finished.
Yeah. That was really the big thing for them. Let's see. The Zack Ryder moving over to Raw.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
They announced it apparently on like Twitter after Raw. Like during Raw they had mentioned, oh, there's a few people that were still going to be continuing to move. And I think that Zach was the only one that they
I
announced.
also heard, and I actually saw on Twitter, so Mojo Riley.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Oh my God, he's so terrible. He's like standing in front of the Titantron, like the Raw thing. You see Raw in the background, and if you go look at on his page, what people are saying underneath, like, dude, everyone is just hating on Mojo Riley. They're like, we wish you'd just retire, and just terrible things. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I'm worried about old Zack Ryder over there on Raw. I was happy to see Breezango move over to Raw.
Yeah.
That hopefully they'll get mixed up more in this the tag storylines. I mean, we saw them win against the Bar.
Yeah, they beat the Bar. I really
On,
think they're a talented tag team. Like, they both can wrestle. Fandango, he's always funny. He takes things very, like he's doing comedy, but his face is so serious, and just the way he starts, like, moving and dancing, like, I'm always laughing at him. So
Yeah.
I'd like to see more of Breezango.
Let's see, the speaking of Sammy and KO, did you see how they were kayfabing out their firings this week?
I didn't.
Oh, they had Sammy changed his Twitter handle from being Sami Zayn to El Generico.
Wow.
And on like ProWrestlingTees.com or one of the wrestling T-shirt websites where everybody's got their stuff, KO started selling Kevin Steen shirts.
Wow. I really like in the last like couple months, I'm starting to like Sami Zayn as a heel.
Oh yeah, I love him. I love them playing that heel character.
Yeah, I think they're really good at it.
Let's see. Another big shocker that we saw. I don't remember if it was this week or I think it was last week. Carmella cashed in her Money in the Bank finally on Charlotte, and she is now the SmackDown Women's Champion.
I really think Carmella's the real deal. Her mic skills, I put her mic skills as one of the best women in the WWE, and I feel like she's one of the best just in general right now.
Yeah, I like that character.
Like, did you see her promo on SmackDown this week?
Yes.
I mean, it was awesome. She killed it.
Yeah, I think that she's doing a great job, and I'm interested to see where this championship goes. And in my opinion, Charlotte doesn't need the belt to be over per se.
Oh, right. You're right.
You know that
Everybody already
she
knows
can go and
she's-
get into a singles, just a singles feud with someone. You know, whether it be continuing the storyline with Asuka, or one of these storylines with the 50 million women that came in.
Right. I would like to see them stop that Asuka Flair angle for a little bit and maybe like go to it again at SummerSlam. Like give it a little break and then maybe Asuka wins at SummerSlam.
Yeah, that would be nice to see as well. We mentioned the Bar. They moved them to SmackDown.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah. Along with Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. So now they're going to be in the mix with New Day again.
Okay.
Or they can be. You know?
Yeah.
From what it almost looks like, they're lining up more and more of it to be a lot of the women being on Raw, and it wouldn't surprise me if by year's end almost we see it to where there's women where there's going to be like a women's moment during Raw every week, like 30 minutes of it will be just women's wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be one match always of cruiserweights. And then for SmackDown, they may have one like runner-up match of the women on SmackDown. I could see that happening.
Yeah.
Within the next few years. Let's see. Well, with the returns, also we saw No Way Jose. We saw Bobby Lashley show up. During No Way Jose, did you notice who all of his party was?
I did.
It was pretty much all of our buddies in Wildkat.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
But one complaint that I do have with the No Way Jose thing is it looked a lot familiar. Didn't it look like Adam Rose?
Yeah, this gimmick's not going to last. I don't feel like the main roster. I feel like it's going to flounder in like 6 months. He's either got to change his gimmick or he's going to be wrestling on like the main event show, the Superstar show that no one watches.
Yeah, I hope that they don't leave it in that situation. Because, that did look just like a rerun.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Some other news. So we mentioned Rusev. Let's see here. Hang on. Boom, boom, boom.
Oh, happy Rusev Day, by the way.
Yes, happy Rusev Day. So I'm hearing a ton of Rusev rumors about Rusev asking to be released. And one thing that's kind of teasing it is the whole Greatest Royal Rumble event that's coming up in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That at one point it was supposed to be Rusev versus Undertaker, and then they changed that. It was supposed to be Rusev and Undertaker in a coffin match. Then they changed it to be Jericho and Undertaker in a coffin match. And then they changed it back, apparently, this week to Rusev versus Undertaker in a coffin match.
Yeah, that was really weird. I thought I was seeing something when I watched SmackDown today. Like, I was like, wait, they're doing this match again? Like, I don't get it. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but something is, something's happening.
Yeah, I think that either, I heard that WWE didn't like the fact that when he met with, like, TMZ ran into him at the airport or at the mall or some shit, and they asked him about, what's the story with this Greatest Royal Rumble? And he said something like, I'm going to be fighting The Undertaker. I'm going to fight his old ass, and I'm going to put him in the coffin for good.
Yeah, you see, I think he was just trying to be funny.
Yeah,
but
he was basically trying to play it kayfabe, you know?
And WWE doesn't want you to ever think The Undertaker is old, even
Yeah.
though he is,
So I don't know if he got in hot water with that. I've heard, with the whole him getting added and then removed and added again, that was around the time when he asked for the release.
Mm-hmm.
And when he asked for the release, that they hurried up and fixed it and put him back into that match. Although, again, I don't want to see him in that match unless he is burying The Undertaker or, putting him in the coffin.
I think it's going to be like a 3-4 minute match, and Undertaker's going to win.
I think that Undertaker's going to win it, unfortunately.
Right, and that's not going to do anything for Rusev.
Yeah, Rusev Day is the most over thing that you have. So I wish they'd quit burying him.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the Greatest Royal Rumble, I see that I have one thing that's ahead of it, but we'll come back to it in just a second. The Greatest Royal Rumble, there's a 50-man Royal Rumble on this, and looking at the card, it almost looks like this has almost a better lineup than what WrestleMania did.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if it's going to be a 2-minute. You know how the entrance, it's usually 2 minutes and then another entrance comes in, like for 50 minutes. I mean, 50 guys, like that's
an hour.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's probably closer to 2 hours.
Right, just for the Royal Rumble. So I don't know. Like, I hope this isn't a yearly thing, like with the Greatest Royal Rumble, because then it's gonna look worse than the regular. I mean, it's gonna make the 30-man Battle Royal look
shitty.
Yeah.
Either it's going to make it look shitty because you don't have as many men in it, or it's really going to elevate it because it's like, the 50-man one's just a jumbled mess.
Right. But yeah, the card, let's see. We got Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, steel cage match. I think this is when Reigns wins the title.
Yeah. Cena versus Triple H.
I mean, they'll put on a good show. I just feel like it's 2004. Like, why are they wrestling?
Undertaker, Rusev. Intercontinental title ladder match. Seth Rollins, The Miz, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe. Samoa seems a little bit out of place here for a ladder match.
That's what I was going to say.
But, I mean, maybe he can put on some big spots.
Yeah, maybe so.
I mean, the brute force of knocking someone off of a fucking ladder
Mm-hmm.
can be pretty cool. The Raw Tag Team match. The Bar versus Bray and Matt Hardy.
I'm looking for Bray and Matt Hardy to win the titles. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah. Cruiserweight title match to be determined. A WWE title match to be determined. So we at least can assume.
I think with that they actually announced today, it's going to be Nakamura versus AJ.
Okay, well, hopefully this is the time where they actually make it right, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
The SmackDown Tag Team title match, Bludgeon Brothers versus Usos. And then the U.S. title match of Jeff Hardy versus Jinder Mahal.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this is a pretty solid card for what seems to be like a last-minute pay-per-view.
Yeah, I mean, the card looks good. I am kind of excited about it. I'm just hoping it's not like an 8-hour event like WrestleMania,
Yeah.
you know? Like, and also, what time is it coming on?
I
Do you
don't know any of the details of
Okay,
it.
because, like, I wonder if we're going to have to... I mean, I'm sure it's going to be live. I'm just wondering the time for it. But, yeah, I'm kind of excited for it. And, I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing some of these matches.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it. I probably won't watch it live, but I'll catch up on it.
Right.
So other big news this week, Cena and Nikki Bella broke up.
If these two crazy kids can't make it, who can?
Who can?
Yeah, I'm hearing reports too that it was Nikki Bella was the one that ended it, and I
Yeah.
heard that scene is a mess. Did you read that?
Yes, I've been reading a lot about it, saying that she didn't, or that John Cena basically wasn't willing to bend on not wanting kids, and things that, as a woman, I can imagine that's the things that she would want.
Right.
To where she was basically going to live the life of a wrestler's wife. And I don't think that she was willing to commit to that once she started to really soak it in.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. We did skip over it, but let's bring it back real quick. Paige retired from the ring officially. And they put her as the new general manager of SmackDown.
I think it was a good move because when she was leaving on Raw, like I kind of had this feeling like, man, it's a shame she's gone. Like I feel like she has so much more to offer, but she does have a good personality, and she can be used better than the manager of Absolution because she really wasn't doing anything. She would just walk out with them, and they would do their thing, and then she would walk back. So this is a chance to like show her personality. So for right now, I think it's the right move.
Yeah, I like this move.
And I almost feel like she could be like an ambassador role too. Like once the general manager thing, if it goes stale after a couple years, she can almost be like how the Big Show like meets people at certain events. I feel like she
Yeah.
has the personality for that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's a good move for WWE to put her in that role.
Mm-hmm.
That she's a good ambassador for the company.
Yeah.
While she had a couple rough moments in the past year with the sex tape stuff and all that,
Right.
I think she's sowed her royal oats.
Yeah.
And she realizes what she has to gain by keeping in the good graces with WWE at this point.
Mm-hmm.
That she can't just leave and be like, okay, I'll go wrestle in the UK. No, you can't really wrestle because if you even look at the wrestle ring practically, you may never walk again.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sad to see her not wrestling because I thought that she was pretty good in the ring.
Yeah, she definitely was.
But I think that this is a good alternative to that. So new content on the network. We briefly talked about it earlier with the Something Else to Wrestle. But apparently they've also announced that they're doing more Edge and Christian Super Show of Awesomeness. They're doing more Table for Three, more Camp WWE, more Story Time. They're doing an Elias Unplugged.
That's going to be awesome.
They're doing more WWE 24 specials. Another Mae Young Classic, another British Classic, and I'd assume more Cruiserweight stuff. I heard recently that they are working on adding Heat and Thunder to the network.
Really?
So I think that there's a lot of good stuff that's going to be coming to the network. Although the Heat and Thunder stuff is archival things, I like this move. I'm hoping that it's a sign that WWE is listening to the fans, and hopefully they'll bring back, like the Legends House and a couple of the other shows that were short-lived that I thought served it a good purpose.
Yeah, I agree.
So the last thing that I have here, Al Snow buys OVW. Ohio Valley Wrestling is now owned by Al Snow.
That's pretty crazy. I didn't even know Ohio Valley Wrestling was like around still.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like a Wildcat or reality wrestling or...
Yeah, I mean, I think any kind of competition makes everybody better. So hopefully it works out for old Al Snow.
Yeah, and I mean, hopefully they'll be able to use some of the seeing a lot more of these the independents and local wrestling federations coming out there. That hopefully it and being run by people in good graces with the WWE. Hopefully it'll help elevate some of these independent guys that we see right now.
Yeah, definitely.
That we see coming in and out of Wildcat and all the independents that are out there.
Yeah, I agree.
So, any closing remarks?
Overall, I thought it was a great week. I thought we hit all the right spots, something to wrestle. I thought Ring of Honor show was good. I thought WrestleMania was good. I really have no complaints. I thought it was cool that we saw Axxess. So this compared to WrestleMania 30, I felt was leaps and bounds better on a personal level.
Yes.
So I'm just glad that we got to go to as many shows together that we did, and I thought it was a great week.
Yeah, so did I. I hope that the successes of Wrestling Week here in New Orleans again gave the WWE and all of the other wrestling federations the confidence that they can continue to come here and put on great shows. I'd love to see more WrestleManias here. I like what Wildcat's doing. I'd like to see more Ring of Honor things down here. Bring more of the independents through town. Even if it's working in conjunction with Wildcat in some fashion, I'd like to see more wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem with seeing wrestling in town. And I look forward to more. As always, thank you for coming on.
Anytime.
Dave, I know you're watching this. Thank you for coming on. You can always follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/N.O.W show. Twitter.com/N.O.W podcast. You can follow me, Pickle Scoop, on Twitter and on Instagram. How about you?
Dusty Bottoms on Facebook. And also, just to end it, I want to just end on a quote from Mr. 450.